What's up? I'm David Francisco, and welcome to The Shed 2.0. This video has been a long time in the making. I actually have had studio spaces for about 10 years, out of bedrooms, out of apartments, out of literally a shed in the back of the last place I was at, and finally, for the first time in my life, I had the opportunity to build a shed from the ground up in the backyard. So a ton of decisions went into the process of making this place, especially because I had to even design what size and what kind of roof and what colors for everything and what kind of acoustic treatment and what kind of lighting. So many different decisions. So I'm going to take you through all those decisions in this video, hopefully give you a better idea if you're trying to build your own space of some of the things that I thought through. I wanted an environment that felt comfortable, that felt like you could live in it, not like the dark studio with the black walls and kind of the closed off cave feel. I've kind of had that most of my career, so I wanted a place that felt like almost like a songwriter's retreat space. One thing that you'll notice throughout my whole build is that I actually prioritized the vibe over the acoustics. It is not perfectly acoustically treated in here. I'll probably keep doing some work to get it a little better, but I prioritize the vibe because I know how important it is when you walk into a space to enjoy being there. If I'm going to be working in here every day, it needs to be something light and it needs to be a place that's inviting, and I definitely think we accomplished that. The last place I was in was about 10 by 16. It was a shed in the backyard, and a lot of that space I actually had to use for storage, so I didn't even get the full 10 by 16. So it was tight. I had a blast out of that place. I made some great friends and great memories in that shed, but needless to say, I wanted a little bit bigger of a space. I didn't want a separate ISO booth, and a lot of studios have them. They're amazing, but they do create that distance between the artist and the producer, and I didn't really want that. Plus, if I'm shooting a shed session and I'm trying to take video of the person singing, well, that's kind of hard to do when they're in another room. So I didn't necessarily think I wanted drums in here full time, but I did want to focus on the experience for the guest. So I wanted it to be a space that maybe had a coffee table where you could sit and maybe songwrite, and felt comfortable and also light. And I figured about 14 by 20 was going to give me enough space for a small table, chairs, a couch, but not be too big at the same time. It was hard to make a final choice. I didn't really know how much space I was gonna want because maybe I'm gonna wanna put drums in it permanently. Maybe I'm gonna want an upright piano. It kind of stressed me out and overwhelmed me thinking, what if it's too small or what if it's too big? But ultimately I just had to make the choice and stick with it, and it gave me a framework to work around. So to make a place that fit my budget, I was gonna have to get a little creative in how the frame went up and what options we used. And turns out, Tough Shed actually sells custom-sized building frames for your shed. And so it was gonna be way cheaper going through them. Yes, the options were a little bit limited, but they still had some raised ceiling options and were able to make this place for a fraction of the cost it would have been to do a custom design. So I've got the company that's gonna build it, I've got the size, I've got the plans, we're ready to go. Next was putting the foundation down. I'm here in the backyard where the shed is gonna be going up. Currently it's just green grass. Day one of building, and we've got some stuff on the ground. So once we had the foundation poured, the next step was the frame. This was a really neat part of the process because for the first time we were able to see what this thing was gonna actually look like. I'll keep that up. One thing I did notice while they were building the frame was they were putting in a lot of cross beams. Look at this. It kind of freaked me out. It's something we didn't notice in the plans, but man, when you looked inside once they were done, it was nothing but wood all over the ceiling. And most of the time people just either use that as storage or close it off with a ceiling, but I was gonna leave it open and I wanted it to look really artistic and cool, but it was so much wood. I kind of freaked out, but I took a minute to breathe and just hope that it would look better once we kind of had the drywall and everything else in. This was one of many moments, by the way, where I was like, why did I choose to do that? This was my first time ever making a place from the ground up, so yeah, I had to make a lot of choices and just hope that it was a good choice. So after the frame went up, it was time for insulation and drywall. Say good morning.
Good morning.
Progress.
Well, we did it. Me and Carlos, Kim, we got insulation on the entire ceiling and drywall on the walls, which is crazy. Obviously, it is pretty exhausting. As you can tell, a lot of sweat on my face.
We decided to do green glue and 2 layers of drywall. This is an acoustic thing that people do sometimes. You can Google it, green glue. It's like a magic thing that holds drywall layers together. And that was just to help a little bit more with the acoustics. Green glue.
Oh, sorry.
Go for it. Yeah, put it on.
Oh.
the one that doesn't fit. Amateur hour. The other choice we had when we were doing the frame and everything was to put skylights along the north wall and the east wall. And the reason I didn't do it on the west wall is because the sun sets over there, and I figured, well, the sun would be coming in the afternoon right in my face, and I'd probably get sick of that. So I'm really glad I chose to do that, even though it's not technically symmetrical. It's kind of cool. It gives me that indirect sunlight, but no direct sunlight. So we've got the drywall, we've got the insulation, and next is going to be paint colors as well as flooring. How do you pick between 500 different shades of white? It's crazy. I was able to just, again, make a choice, not knowing, kind of feeling like I was jumping off a cliff. I guess we're gonna paint the walls this color. I think they're great. I don't really know. And I did do an accent wall color on the back wall. It's gray versus the white that the rest of the room is. I think it's kind of cool. It's nothing crazy. Now for the beams, I had a couple different options. I thought maybe we should try to cover the big metal things with something, and then the wood will just stain or paint white or black. I thought it was gonna be white or black for a while, but we tried staining it, and man, the day that I stained it, I was so impressed. It turned the wood around, just basic 2x4s, but now they looked amazing. And even put stain on the metal, and that made it kind of blend in and look really good. Kind of gave it this rustic feel. So with the paint colors of the walls in mind, I thought maybe just going with a simple gray laminate flooring would be perfect. So in the Shed 1.0, I had to use a portable air conditioning unit, and it had to be right there in the room with us, making this crazy loud, like crazy loud sound, so I couldn't record with it. And the problem was, with all this audio gear that's creating heat, I either had to turn it off, which made it super hot and we'd be sweating within seconds.
Whoa, it got hot real fast.
It got hot real fast. Or leave it on and have a bunch of noise in the recording. So there were a lot of hot Shed sessions in that first couple years. So In this new place, we did our research, we asked around, and we got an incredible unit that's crazy quiet. It's actually on right now, keeping the room at like 73, and it's amazing. So because there aren't any windows on this wall, the unit is right there behind the tree. I don't know if you can see it. It's cool in here all day, it's light and it's cool. And those are some of my favorite things about this new space. So one of the craziest things is just how ambient the place was. Once the doors were in, there was literally nothing stopping the sound from resonating. And so when I went in there, I just was amazed at how ambient it sounded and decided to sing a little bit. Praise